Hey, I don't want to take too much time on this because I know we're right towards the end, but I thought of this. We're thinking about it with the trilogy, and when we were talking about our Pixar episode, when we were talking about the Toy Story trilogy. Now, is it fair to rank trilogies? Like, say, can you rank the Toy Story, the original trilogy, as its own thing, like in terms of ranking film trilogies, or is it not a trilogy anymore, like that they've introduced a fourth film?
Okay, that's a great question, and I have a set opinion about this.
Yeah,
I think the
I knew
Toy
you would.
Story.
That's why I wanted to ask. Yeah,
I think the Toy Story trilogy is a trilogy, and you can rank it as such because when they made Toy Story 3, they made that movie with the idea that we might not make another movie, and it has some finality to the ending. Whereas you can't call The Hunger Games a trilogy because the third movie is part 3 of 4, right? Like the third movie is part 1 of 2, even of itself.
right.
So that's for sure a quadrilogy. You can't call Harry Potter 1, 2, and 3 a trilogy because the story is not even close to being over yet. Whereas you
Right.
can call, I think you can also call like, what else? Let's think of another example of something that you can call a trilogy that had a movie come after.
What about Die Hard? Because they went on and made some more shitty Die Hard movies after the original 3.
Well, yes, you can. I would say yes, you absolutely can because the third movie ties back into the first movie. And then those other movies after are, it actually feels like John McClane is a different character in those movies.
It really does, yeah. Wow, yeah, those last two are really so bad.
Yeah. Then where it gets tricky is things like Terminator. Because Terminator 3, like really, Terminator 1 and 2 feel like a story told. And then Terminator 3 comes in with a different cast and sort of upends what you know about the story. And then Terminator 4 goes into like different. I like Terminator 4, but it goes into like different. I like 4 more than 3, but it goes into like different weird territory. And then 5 and 6 are very bad. So it's tough with a franchise like that. Okay, so here's a question for you. If 3 movies are not made with the intention of being a trilogy, but they just keep making, like John Wick, they're like, we're just going to keep checking these out because we have cool ideas for them. Is it even worthwhile thinking about them in terms of how the whole looks? Let's take Lone Wolf and Cub.
Yeah.
That's not the complete story told. They made 6 movies, and they didn't finish the story. So it was just like, we're going to make a movie serial. And if it ends, it ends. It doesn't, it doesn't. So I'm wondering, like, unless you have something like The Lord of the Rings or The Godfather, I guess.
Right, that's a definitive ending, yeah.
Yeah. Is it even worthwhile to think about it as a trilogy? Like Before Sunrise, right? You have Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, Before Midnight. Those were made on a schedule. That schedule has now passed. It has been more than 9 years since Before Midnight came out. So if another movie comes out, is it worthwhile to think about the Before trilogy as a trilogy anymore? And is it worth thinking about the Before trilogy as a trilogy now, since the mood of that third one is so different than the mood of the first 2?
I would think in that sense, I mean, we could do a whole podcast on that trilogy, and you know what, maybe we should at some point. But I still think that counts as a full trilogy because I think it captures that couple at 3 very distinct points in their life, and the mood is very different in that third movie. But yeah, so is life. Like life is very different at those, at those points. Your life is very different, from where they were in the second movie versus where it was in the third movie. So I think it makes sense that the mood is very different. And I think those 3 movies do make sense as a coherent trilogy.
That's really interesting. Okay, that has nothing to do with anything we talked about on this episode, which
Total
you warned us. But yeah, let's come back to that. Make a note. We should do something about the Before trilogy because I love talking about it.
Oh yeah, and like I said, another one that my wife's never done. We've been talking about watching the whole run of them. So yeah, let's put a pin in it.